from the part of Nigeria where they are considered minority. We are more or less like endangered species. Opportunity hardly comes down to us, no matter our competence. And sometimes when you break it down, it has so many layers. Religion is one of them. So whenever a ticket is going to be formed, you want to feel that somebody that is in the ticket must represent who you are so that your interest can be protected when you're not there. So at that time, because the decision of the president was same fate, we thought that that decision is going to further bring us down. That was why we made those decisions. But I can tell you now, I don't think there is any part of Nigeria greater than the Middle Belt and part of the Northeast who consider themselves minorities that are more fired up for Bwala Tinubu. Why? Because when he became president, what he ensured he has been doing is that he delivers on equity. The rights of people are given. He's not moved by religious consideration. He's not moved by tribal consideration. He's moved by equity and good governance, meaning that if in such a place you have people who are capable and competent to do something, he will give them the opportunity to do it. That's why even when it comes down to the issue of the youth, you see that for a long time, governments have not entrusted responsibilities in the hands of young people. But if you look at the cabinet of the president and his entire government, and that involves people in agencies, advisory, you will see that he has entrusted a lot of responsibility in the hands of the youth. So it cut across. You have the component of women, component of youth, the minority. He just wants to deliver on that thing called equity and good governance. And that has fascinated us. So I saw it even before I joined Mr. President. And
this time we have your former principal, Atiku Abubakar, and we have former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai. Tell me, confess to me, do you sometimes wish that somebody of the stature of Nasir El-Rufai were on your side, especially at this time?
First of all, we have never dismissed Nasir, and that is what marked President Tinubu out. We have never dismissed him. All of his time in APC was impactful, and although some of his successes are overrated, but let us just say for the sake of argument that they were impactful. He played his role in the emergence of the president, and the president had wanted him to be part of the government. But because we have three branches of government, unfortunately, the legislature, while they were still considering, because his confirmation hearing was not concluded, he at some point decided to withdraw his interest to serve as a minister. So, but now that he has gone, are we regretting? Certainly no. Why? Because that's why they say if one door closes, another one opens. In the Kaduna state where he governed as a governor, if you look at the trajectory of his governance, by the time he was approaching the end of his second term, his popularity has dwindled. That's why I shudder and laugh at those who think his movement around will create any repulse effect. Why? We lost 3 Senate seats, some House of Rep, and the president lost Kaduna. I mean, there cannot be a sad story like that. But we still believe that probably now that he has finished, he has come, we will move together. But he thinks differently because once again, he is his right to chase his ambition. And nobody is holding it against him. But I can tell you that the governor who has taken over from him, what he has fundamentally done in Kaduna was to unite the entire Kaduna people under one umbrella. Not a single crisis. They forge ahead. 2, delivering equity to the people that were disenfranchised in the state. And 3, was able to unite forces together. The other day you see Sheikh Usani and his group that left Nasir El-Rufai, they all came together. So wherever we had what seemed like somebody leaving, it is creating the room and opportunity for others who hitherto were not seen to come out and even put in their best. As per my former principal, you see, if I have the opportunity to meet him face to face, what I will tell him is just this. Your Excellency, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, you have to believe in destiny. God giveth power to whomsoever he chooses. And it seems from the facts on ground, it may not have been the will of God for you to govern Nigeria. There are many other ways you can contribute. And since you have been a friend to President Bola Tinubu for many years, come together and bring your contribution towards the Nigeria that both of you wanted to create for the Nigerian people, so that your legacy will be that in your political dying days, you will be able to achieve some of your dreams, albeit through your friend. But if he insists that he wants to run and he wants to become the president, as we are already seeing it playing out, his political ending might not be as palatable as he's thinking, because right now, from his political family, he has lost substantial people, probably 60 to 70%. And now a younger generation under him felt that it is their turn and their right to also run. And for some time now, with all the talks, they have not backed down or back away from their ambition. And they don't look like they are going to back away anytime soon. And then the conversation with Peter Obi will be making the biggest mistake of his life to now come together under the agreement he will be a running mate, because all of the people you are hearing obedient had only one contract with Peter Obi, that he will run for the president. The minute Peter Obi drops the idea of running for president himself, I can guarantee you he will lose majority of the people that are following him. This is without taking away the fact that Peter Obi himself may not be comfortable in that arrangement. Who else in that political cycle that has the political gravitas more than Bwala Tinubu? Let's leave joke aside. Who that has political gravitas? Because most of them are proteges of Bwala Tinubu. A man who won election when all the forces are against him will now lose election when he's in power. When you have the opportunity to deliver on good governance, you have opportunity to stretch your hand and make it a national consensus, as he's doing. But those who are close watchers of events and activities and are not moved by emotions will see signs that indicate that the coalition is dead on arrival. And what are those signs? Governors on the platforms of their parties are joining us. Senators are joining us. Everywhere where they think they have those strong structures, the people are coming under the tutelage of President Bwala Tinubu, because President Bwala Tinubu may not be perfect. He may make mistake. But one fact is clear. His head and his heart is right, and there is no politician alive today that has political gravitas to gather people as much as President Bwala Tinubu. We are not bothered.
No, Bwala, if you do a tie back to the year 2023, APC had so many governors. Apart from having plenty of governors, there were the 5 governors of PDP who were working with Wike, who also did not support the candidate of their party. So effectively, APC had, that was President Tinubu, had no less than 25 governors literally backing his aspiration. But at the end of the day, APC lost not less than 10 states that it was in control of. And the president didn't win even half of those 25 governors that openly professed interest in his aspiration. So talking about the fact that governors are joining the party, don't you think it's not a guarantee of victory, given what transpired in 2023?
In politics, nothing is guaranteed until it happens. But in politics, we have science. That's why they call it political science. There are science behind political activities and trajectory. And then even the common man sometimes can see. For example, your point about the governors he had. You see, in 2023 election, it was not President Bwala Tinubu that was in the driver's seat, so to speak. He was a candidate. But the forces on earth were not forces he had control over. And there are activities that have happened in the build-up to the election that were clear enough to suggest that President Bwala Tinubu was actually contesting against forces. This is without prejudice to the fact that I was on the other side and I knew the number of governors of APC that were supporting us. So that's why I say in politics, nothing is guaranteed. And at that time, the reason for which some of the governors were doing that is because if you look at the optics that surrounded that election, it is very easy for you to believe. People came together and ran for primaries. He won. Some of them were aggrieved. He is not running for primaries now. Everybody is under the umbrella. That's point number one. Point number two, he has had enough time to engage. And there is something I have discovered with Bwala Tinubu since I've come to know him. You know this thing they call political vendetta? He doesn't do it. Look around him, his government and everybody around him. Over 70% of the people were like prodigal sons and daughters who have left him. So why is it that when they go, they still come back? There must be something about his governance and politics strategy that tells that your future can be achieved by coming under his tutelage. And there are many. They are not hidden people that you can see. Now, but there is not a single politician now incomparable to President Bwala Tinubu that you will say people that have abandoned him came together. He's the only person that has them. Then two, going forward, yes, there might be governors or a governor or governors that may secretly be backing the other opposition.
Yes.
But if you look at, if you do comparative analysis of the pre-2023 election and look at where we are today, President Bwala Tinubu has gained more grounds than the ground that he has lost in 2023. So he's in a better footing, so to speak, at the moment as compared to when he was not in control of the campaign.
Yeah, Dr. Bwala, there are concerns about the wave of defections in recent times in our country. And there are people who harbor this fear that if care is not taken, Nigeria will become a one-party state. How do you respond to this fear in opposition cycles that our country is sliding into a one-party state?
The only the set of people that are supposed to stop the country from becoming a one-party state is not the governing party. If we have our chance and favor, everybody will become member of APC. It is constitutional to make your party popular and bring more people under the basket of the party. It is opposition that are supposed to say that we will not allow this nation to be a one-party state. Therefore, we are going to build our party, build alternative, come up with ideas, harmonize our people. It is their duty. It is not the duty of the president where he's sitting. Then he will say, oh, the way the government is going, I don't want them to accuse me of one-party state. Okay, this governor of this state, go and join them. This senator, it doesn't happen like that. So they are deflecting. They are, in other words, sending the blame that is supposed to be right staring at them. They are sending that blame to anybody who cares to listen to them. Because nobody will look at PDP as a party now and ever think that the PDP as a party is even sensible enough to have any member there. In the last how many years, what have they done? Is there leadership in that party? Is there direction in that party? Have they been able to hold a meeting successfully in that party? When have they come out of court cases in that party? If you make your house unattractive, you cannot blame your neighbor who has beautified his house for having visitors. And sheep will always go to greener pastures. They will not stay in the dry land. It is the covenant. God says, you lay me beside still waters. So every member of the political party look for his political interest. Pardon?
I said you are waxing lyrical like a pastor now.
If I feel the anointing. Because the point I'm trying to make is, there is nobody that will go and enter fire. It is instinctive and it is created by God that man by nature will gravitate towards where life will be better for him. These are sitting governors. We are not talking about former governors. Sitting governors are defecting. If you say, this one will say because of trade, are they not covered by Section 308? Because they know when we align with the center, we are able to deliver governance to our people. We avoid unnecessary drama. Take, for example, Delta. Not just a sitting governor, including a former vice presidential candidate. I mean, President Bwala Tinubu is not being given the credit that he deserves. He is supposed to have, because at a point I told my friend, I said, probably very shortly, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar might also declare his support for President Bola Tinubu. Nothing is impossible. Because what President Bola Tinubu is doing is to run a government of everybody, a government of the Nigerians. You find people he relates with who are not in his government, not in his party, people who he makes sure that his doors are not controlled by those who think it is winner takes it all. And that is the approach he's giving. So it is attractive, whether at the National Assembly level, okay, I give you another graphic example, Dr. Babajide. Look at National Assembly. They would always cry and say that the National Assembly is a rubber stamp. Meanwhile, that National Assembly consists of members of the opposition. When a bill is sent to the National Assembly, there is overwhelming votes of both the PDP senators and House of Rep, of the Labour. Recently, Peter Obi wrote a letter, a passionate letter to Labour Party lawmakers to listen to him and not support a particular resolution. They ignored him and do that. Are they also, while remaining in their respective parties? So are they turning a one-party state? If your house is not attractive to visitors, don't blame your neighbor for making his house attractive. So we will continue to counter them with this counter-narrative that if you fail to put your house in order, anybody who comes to your house is experiencing a curse, because nobody wants to go to a place of conflict, confusion, derision, lack of direction, and frustration. And in these days of mental health, nobody will go to PDP, or else you have problem with mental health. So we are doing what we are supposed to do. We are focusing on governance, but we know for sure when that time comes, we will come to the Nigerian people who are the only people that will determine who gets elected, and we will bring the scorecard to them.